growth and progress. Today, and also joining us via virtual, because this is also a very interesting time, is Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu. She is the Abuja Conference Committee for CTD2020, which is countries have really...
It's these times of COVID, right? I mean, the most important thing is change. Change has happened. A significant change has happened. And really, the change agents in an organization are those that handle training. Because once there's change, you need training. You need to transform. And the only way you transform is do something new. The only way you get something new is you get trained. So that's training is such a critical role. It plays a really critical role in this transformation agenda that the entire world is going through.
Definitely.
It's amazing. So we as training professionals, and it's really a profession, we as training professionals have certain capabilities that we exhibit, and those capabilities help us kind of guide the organization into weathering those big storms of change. And for the Learning and Development Network International, it's a group of professionals in the learning space, both HR and L&D, because you can't remove L&D from HR.
Yes.
And you can't even remove L&D from leadership. Leadership is all about people and how you transform people. So it's such a key role. What we try to do is professionalize that space and ensure that everybody kind of follows certain best practices. And one key thing, how we do that is we kind of key into the best practices worldwide. So we're affiliated with the Association for Talent Development. It's the largest talent development body in the world. It's based in the US.
That's a great collaboration.
Yes, it used to be called the American Society for Talent and Development, but after a while realizing that the whole world is going to America, so they changed it to Association for Talent Development, ATD, and they have a capability model, which is a 23-step capability model, and that capability model tells us all the different capabilities we need. So we've taken that on board in LDNI, and every single session, every single thing we do with our members is to ensure that they kind of follow that framework.
Definitely.
And our conference for this year is covering 15 of those capabilities in 2 days.
15 capabilities in 2 days?
Yes.
Wow.
Not just only 15, but it's about 50 sessions.
Yes,
in 2 days.
I mean, and it's virtual, and 50 sessions and 15 capabilities.
Yes, you wonder how can you go through 50 sessions?
That's something that's going through my mind. How do you achieve this, particularly the fact that learning and development really has to do with pace and time and efficiency?
So you can't do all 50 in 2 days.
Yes.
We know that. But the reason we did that is everybody has different pieces of the pie that they need to take. So they're based on whatever they're going through. So some people in public sector will want to go through public sector. So we have 8 tracks to help you. 8 tracks that will kind of help guide you through how, let me even give you the tracks. There's change readiness and culture. So some people, if you're interested in change readiness and culture, we have stuff for you. You're doing coaching and career development. So these are part of the capabilities. In coaching and career development, we have digital transformation and learning technologies as a track, instructional design, leadership development. We have the public sector track. Then we have a new track we kind of created, the business of learning, because we realized that a lot of our members have really been hit bad during these times. I mean, you can imagine someone that always trains in the class, trains physically. Now you're telling him go virtual. So how does that affect the business of learning? And then
so
training,
definitely 8 tracks, 50 sessions.
50 sessions, 15 capabilities, and you just choose. You go to the platform, you choose what you want to watch, and you create your own agenda. And then you have access for a year after, so you can go back and watch those things you missed.
I'll get back to you, Mr. David Brown, on the ways to assess the site and also engage further. But very nice to hear that, particularly you're affiliated with the American Association. That is real, broader network. Yeah, very, very interesting. So, Mr. John Wesey, Mr. John Wesey, the guru in management consultancy. This team is building new pathways. I know you've been always talking about the need for us to be strategic. So what is the whole concept around this team of building new pathways for the 2020 Champions of Talent Development Conference?
Thank you, Otto. I think, once again, viewers, thank you. We also like to thank ProShare WebTV for agreeing to partner with us. We are very grateful. We are honored. And we are looking forward to this partnership to be further strengthened. So thank you. Why are we developing or building new pathways? The pandemic has reorganized society, it has reorganized business, reorganize the way we relate. So that's why we are building new pathways. So that's why the theme is. So it is asking us on the entire talent management, not even development, the entire talent management value chain, or like my chairman.
I like the part of value chain.
Yes, like my committee chairman just said, on the entire human capital development framework, things have changed. So we are enjoining every one of our colleagues, our practitioners globally, to say we need to build new pathways as a result of this. So that's why we are doing that. I'm sure my colleague Chizoba will talk more.
Definitely. We would like to go on a breather, and when we return, we will now look further on that. But let's take note that definitely this learning and development is very critical to our national growth. So when we return, we'll have that conversation with Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu. Stay tuned. Welcome back. And for those of you joining this very special edition of Strategic Management Programme, we are looking at the forthcoming 2020 Champions of Talent Development Conference powered by the Learning and Development Network International. It's looking at the theme, Building New Pathways, and have guests who are going to look into the various dimensions of this conference and its impact, particularly on organizational transformation, development, and indeed national progress as it concerns Nigeria, Africa, and across the globe. It's coming up on October 14th and 15th as next week, 2020, so you don't want to miss it. Let's get on to Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu. She's the Abuja chapter chairman of LDNI. And I know that you've also worked with one of the leading institutions in the country and helped in the process of learning and development, human capacity development. That's why I'm asking this question. The nexus, what's that clear nexus between learning and development and organizational transformation that keys into economic development for countries like Nigeria?
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you this morning, and it's great to see John and David all the way in Lagos and I'm sitting in Abuja. And for me, this is what transformation is all about. A few years ago, all of us would have been sitting in the studio and having these conversations. However, there's been major disruptions, and there are more disruptions that are coming into both the lives of individuals and the world at large. And as these disruptions happen, we need to find ways, coping mechanisms and coping strategies, and find new ways of dealing with issues. What's transformation? Transformation is that we have an end in mind, and the normal route in which we'll pass, probably it's not going to get us there. It's going to get us longer, fast, more costly, less effective, and we need to find a new way of doing things. That's what transformation is all about. And so you find that, even as a nation, the demographics that we had 30 years, 40 years, 50 years ago is not the demographics that we have. The people that we had in organizations in the year 1990 are phasing out of the organization, and we're getting a new set of their workforce. And as the world changes and as people change, we need to change with it. And how do you change? You change by learning new things. by trying new things, by doing new things. And learning is all about acquiring information, doing something, experiencing it, and living it. So that's how people learn. And that's what transformation, you can't get transformation without learning, because you've got to.
Yes, you can't get transformation without learning. Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu is really, really giving insights on that. And that's what leads to organizational development and transformation. Mrs. Chizoba, can you hear me now? Okay, so I think she'll try and reconnect again. But for you, Mr. David Brown, when you look at this conference, its scope in terms of the quality of speakers we're expecting, and in terms of what it's going to really cover, what are things to look out for, particularly for this edition?
So for this edition, we're pretty lucky. I think we're pretty lucky in the sense that quite a lot of our members are also members of the American body, which is the Association for Talent Development. And we've attended the conferences for more than 10 years. Yeah. In fact, they're talking about various topics. So we have relationships there. So I can say for this conference, we have 9 countries represented. Speakers from 9 countries
across the continent of the world.
Yes, across 4 continents in the world. Yes. So we have, for example, we have speakers like Brian Crombie. Yeah, Brian Crombie is the chair of Transit Alliance, past president of Mississauga, somewhere in Canada, Mississauga Art Council, and was co-chair of the Western GTA Summit in 2013. He's a really well-known figure, and he's going to talk about Africa, the continent of the future. And that's his topic.
I like that topic.
Yeah, and we have 9 keynote speakers. So we have 2 days with 9 keynote speakers. There's one of the, I would consider the top virtual trainer and instructional designer in the world. Her name is Cindy Hoggett, and she's going to talk about the art of online facilitation for virtual presenters, trainers, and facilitators. So she's coming. We have someone coming to talk about neuroagility from South Africa. His name is Dr. Andre Vermeulen. He's one of the top when it comes to neuroscience of learning, and he's going to talk about the new paradigm for safeguarding learning organizations. We have another top speaker. This is a keynote speaker in the American in conferences abroad. Her name is Dr. Britt Andriata. She's written 3 books on neuroscience of learning, and she's going to talk about Wired to Grow. And in digital times, we have a major Dr. Prabhagaran. I hope I pronounced his name well. He's from Malaysia. He's from Malaysia, yes. Unlocking organizational learning. So these are part of the 50. We have Professor Ndubisi Ekekwe.
Yes, I've heard a lot about Professor Ndubisi Ekekwe.
His CV can't start reading. So his business and learning agility is what he's talking about. And my friend, a very close friend of mine, one of the top facilitators I've ever seen, his name is Strateg Love. He's based in the US. He's going to be talking about how we can effortlessly create massive participant engagement in live virtual instructor-led training. So this is just some of the 50 speakers. And another wonderful thing is we have 40 on-demand sessions, because immediately COVID happened. What we did as LDNI is we said, look, every single week we're going to be bringing out quality content for the world to kind of gain from. So every week we were doing webinars, every single week. So we'll have about 40 webinars, or solid webinars, that are going to be part of the conference platform, and you have that as on-demand content. So it's like
that's rich and innovative.
Very, very rich, yes.
I think we have Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu back. I'll get back to you, Mr. David, quickly on the format and strategy of this conference. So, Mrs. Chizoba, have you back? We know technology is something that every day learning and showing. You talked about the fact that there can be no organizational transformation without continuous learning. So you can go on as we look at the nexus between L&D and organizational transformation and national progress.
Okay, so it's part of the issues around working virtually until we get stronger networks and stronger service. We will keep having, because the world, in the context in which we all exist, keeps changing. a few years ago, we'll never have been having these sessions. We'll not be talking about virtual learning. For years, we've been talking about e-learning, but that has accelerated. In a way that we not imagined. You know, the world has been talking about the future of work. And that future of work, we are all not immune to it. The whole world has to think about that future of work, and governments are thinking about the future of work. And that future of work, there are three changes. The nature of the work itself, because there will be routine automation, there will be a lot more artificial intelligence, robotics, and using data analysis and to build and to predict, activities in organization. So the work is going to change. Of course, the workplace has changed. People talk about work from home. I say, no, it's not work from home. It's work from anywhere. You can actually be anywhere and contribute. So there's synchronous work that is going on where we all come together and we're using technology to put people together. We're having a synchronous conversation using Zoom. However, there's asynchronous work that's got to be happening, people working in their different spaces and using technology to aggregate all that work, for the team to be able to work with it. And then the third one is the kind of workforce that we're going to have. We can't be talking about permanent staff anymore. That we're going to have all sorts of people in the organization, remediation of, people who have retired from the workforce with the experience, they are gig workers, and we've got to find ways of managing all these people. So if you look at this dimension of future of work, what does it mean? We've got to learn to work differently. We've got to learn to work with this technology. We've got to learn to exist with this technology. We have to learn to work from anywhere, yet connected as a team. So there's so many things that, we need to learn. There are many things that we need to unlearn, the way we used to do things. So we can't keep yearning and looking back to where we are coming from. And there are many things that we have to relearn: humanity, love, care, for other people. So at the end of the day, you've got to have economic development, which is about leadership, because leadership is not a position. Leadership is not, for me, leadership is not a position. Leadership is the actions that you take towards moving people in a specific direction. So we've got to relearn the leadership. And no better time than now, that our lives have been disrupted, so we can find new pathways, new connections, get us to where we need to go as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chizoba Mojekwu. Very, very clear that the nature of work, the way we carry out the process, and of course, the workforce is very important. Investments have to be made in that regard. So, Mr. thousands of people attending, talking about various formats and all that. We look at the infrastructure, like you rightly said, and the strategy. How has it been in terms of this particular CTD2020? What's different from other conferences you've hosted, and the infrastructure and strategy to ensure that it goes as successful as we're already seeing the build-up?
Thank you, Otto. This is new for every one of us.
Yeah.
You were asking what is new. We currently also have already registered about 500 participants registered, and I'm counting. Okay. What is also unique, just like my chairman has said, my conference chairman has said, we have 8 tracks. These 8 tracks are bringing our African thought leaders, people like Emmanuel Michael, who is ranked among the 100 most influential HR professionals.
That's great.
Globally. We have Yemi Fashion. We have Adora Ekwemensi. By the way, Chizoba herself is also facilitating in this program.
That's great.
Okay.
Nice to
we have Joel Omeke coming to talk to us. We have a bunch of Nigerian experts collaborating with our global partners, our global speakers coming. So that's the uniqueness. And like my chairman has said, we're covering 8 tracks, one on career development and coaching. We have on leadership development. Look at what is happening today. We're talking about NSAS, and we are saying they should stop it. We are saying no. To reorientate.
That takes a real learning, if I have to come in there.
Thank you.
Learning.
They need to be taught. Yes. The curriculum needs to change. the curriculum that we're currently using in training our forces need to change. So if they come to this program, and we've extended invitation to every organization, learning cuts across every
organization,
every discipline.
Definitely.
So when they attend this conference, that's the uniqueness. Just like my chairman said, we have one of the world's known, renowned virtual instructor, designer, and trainer in this program. Actually, 2 of them are there talking to us. We also have 2 Nigerians speaking on it. We also have the opportunity to talk about what does it take to lead in crisis of uncertainty. We're in a season of uncertainty.
And the L&Ds have to be able to manage
this conference, thank you, Otto. This conference is bringing the opportunity for every one of us, you get the point, to be a part of this change. What is unique? And because it is virtual, you can book appointments and chat with these conference speakers right there, as my colleague will share with you very soon.
Yes, that's what we're going to next.
We have exhibitors. The Lagos State government is fully behind us.
Wow, that's great.
They are partners, just like ProShare, WebTV is our partner. They are partners. So you can engage Lagos State officials in their booths, in the exhibition booth. These things are taking place live 24/7. And guess what? This platform will be open for 1 year for people who register. So at any
for 1 year.
For 1 year. It has never happened.
I don't think I've heard that before.
It has never happened in Africa before. Wow. This is the first time.
This is remarkable.
So this is the uniqueness of this conference. And which is why we are saying we've gathered together experience and the
So that's a credence to his leadership.
He is the backbone. You know, unfortunately, he couldn't join us in this session. Now, he has provided the leadership work, giving us the opportunity to express ourselves. And we are grateful for his leadership. Together with all the chapter leadership. Like I told you, Chizoba heads the Abuja and the Northern region. David heads the Lagos and Western region. Then we have the Port Harcourt and the South and Southeast, Mr.
So it's spread, it has a widespread across the country.
It's a national association, Mr. Kalada Apiafi. You know, so you could see the way we've spread our tentacles. That's the uniqueness, which is why we are saying that this conference is just the beginning for us in developing new paths to growing our talents locally, as the case may be.
Mr. Wesey, just 1 minute before I get to Mr. David Brown to give us the features of the site and how to engage digitally. What is the spread in terms of the invitations? I know that you've talked about LDNI spreading to all organizations which have to be involved, police, federal civil service, everyone. What are the additional guests we're expecting? Are we expecting some people, public office holders, political office holders, who also need to understand the nexus between L&D and national development?
Absolutely. One thing you'll find is that these 8 tracks has opportunity for everyone. There's a session for public sector, and we have about two people talking to us from the public sector, giving us their perspective. By the way, this is the reason why you need to be there. You need to know what the Lagos State government is doing. The Lagos State government are going to be sharing with us the strides they've made in the transformation of how they have moved learning from face-to-face to virtual. Although the Lagos State government has moved almost 10,000 of their workforce onto virtual learning. It's amazing.
It's something that we've seen.
So you could see what we are talking about. CEOs are also coming to these events.
Very important.
CEOs are also coming because you need to know how to manage talent. You get the point. So they're also coming. So it's not just for HR practitioners or learning and development practitioners. We're inviting lawyers, accountants, medical scientists, medical practitioners, or whoever, education people in the education, federal and local government. Please come and engage and be part of this unique opportunity. First in its kind. We say it's proudly Nigerian. First in its kind. And I must thank our chairman of this year's conference, himself and his team, what they put together, to help us get to this place. So that's the uniqueness of
all right.
what we're seeing.
I'm really impressed with the wider reach and collaborations we're seeing. So, Mr. David Brown, let's get down to the technology of it, the sites, and how we can engage digitally. You know, we have a big reach of millennials now into the organizations and all that. How can they also connect?
Okay, I'll not share my screen if you give me that permission,
okay,
so that I can share it and just show you what they can expect. So we partnered with an American company who kind of provides conference services. So at least to kind of simplify the process of what we were trying to do, the gravity of what we're trying to do. So if you on your phone, if you have an app, you can even download the app, and then I'll show you how that works. Let me just share my screen and show you that. Still can't share my screen.
Okay, so what we're trying to do, my minister says we should take a breather now. We'll take a breather, and then when we return, we'll look at this connectivity and the various features for the conference. Please stay tuned.
Welcome to this year's Champions of Talent Development. In this year's event, we will be talking about building new pathways. Why are we talking about building new pathways? We are talking about building new pathways because the pandemic has created an almost 360 degrees change in the way we relate. So the business of learning and development have also been affected. The business of education has also been affected. So the business of training delivery has also been affected. Indeed, the business of business have also been affected. So what are we saying? We are saying that you should join us at this year's conference, which is taking place from October 14th to 15th, right here in Nigeria, beamed globally for the world to see. Who are our speakers? When you register for this event, you will be able to meet Professor Ndubisi Ekekwe, who happens to be one of our keynote speakers for this year's conference. You will also be able to meet Sadek Law from the US, Brian Cumbry from Canada. This year's event, we have nearly 50 speakers talking to you. So it's important you are a part of this. Imagine 50 speakers in 2 days. The choice is yours. 50 speakers, 8 tracks. What are the tracks we are looking at? The tracks we are looking at include change, management, and readiness, training, delivery, and facilitation. We also have a track for the public sector because they are a very important group. That's where policy is made, that's where execution also takes place of policy. So we are also focusing on how will the business of talent development or the business of learning and development, even the business of education, how will it change in the new path that we are growing? Especially development issues. We're also going to be looking at structural design. A whole gamut of 8 tracks, 50 speakers, global leaders and experts in their field. Some of the local names you will be having opportunity to engage with are Emmanuel Michael, Yemi Fashion. They will be talking to us. So we are looking forward to have you come talk with them. I will be there to welcome you. Here is a one-time event. For the first time not just in Nigeria, in Africa, we are bringing together learning and development experts, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, business leaders, policymakers, people in government to come and talk to us so that we can build the new pathways together for a better Nigeria, a better Africa, and a better world. I'm going to be there to welcome you. See you there.
Welcome back. As you can see a lot about this conference, it's really as we look at the LDNI 2020 conference, Learning and Network International. The conference is annual and it's called the Talent development, looking at building new pathways. So, Mr. David Brown, just take us through the sites, the features, and the interesting unique things to look out for.
Okay, I'm sure, I don't know if the audience can see my screen. You know, that's one of the things we say now in virtual. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? But unfortunately, the audience can't reply. So we have a website, which is a website for the conference itself, conference website, which is ctd.ldni.info. So ctd.ldni.info. CTD stands for Champions of Talent Development, and then LDNI is Learning and Development Network International.info. First thing you will see there is you see how many days left for the conference, 3 days, 19 hours, it's counting down. Then you could go to programs, you could conference program, check out the conference program, and then you could also go to register. That's the most important thing, is register. And we realize that in these times, right, there are many people probably, funding is such an issue. So we have actually, the pricing for the conference, we've decided to completely cut out a lot of things, and the pricing is as low as 10,000 naira.
Wow.
You have 70, you can see 70 sessions for 10,000 naira.
That's considerable.
It's
considering
something
else.
Yeah. And that's like $30. In fact, some of our foreign members are coming. We're actually thinking this is a scam. I said, no, this can't be. This is something that we usually charge $800 in the US for, the kind of quality.
70 sessions for 10,000 naira is remarkable.
Yeah. So if you want a year's access is 25,000 naira. So what you do, once you register, immediately you pay that, you get access to the platform. So I want to show you the platform. So this is the platform itself. So the platform, you come into the platform, you see orientation, for example, you click there, watch some videos on orientation, your events, you want to manage your events, attendees, you want to see who are the attendees there, who am I going to connect with. Then you have on-demand are the sessions, on-demand sessions. Let me go there, for example. If I go to on-demand, this means these are all the sessions you can start watching immediately. You have about 40 sessions there. For example, I can go to LC, becoming a leader, your team needs in these times. Yeah. So if I click there, I can actually watch that on-demand session right there, comment on it, chat on it and stuff. So you have so much content. So you can, at least these are content that's already available. Then you can go to, if you click on live, watch now, let's assume you're in the session. You just click live, that will be the live session that's happening right now. So that's the session that I've actually just did. So let me just click that. You can see it's very interactive. So you can also decide, I don't see the exhibitors. Go and have a look at who the exhibitors are.
Exhibitors is a very interesting innovation.
Yes.
Like Mr. John Wesey said.
Yes, you can just go check out the exhibitors. You see, okay, I want to chat, I want to book a meeting. Let me say, okay, I'd like to meet. I want to book a meeting. You can do a video meeting right there with the exhibitors. Or you could decide, what are the attendees? Let me connect with my attendees. Let me connect with my fellow attendees. So it's the networking and interaction already starts happening immediately. You don't
just like the physical exhibition.
Just like the physical, yeah. So you can go to attendees, for example. Let me look for John Wesey. Let me see if I can have a chat with John. Yeah. So John, I see John. See, John is there. So now, as David, I can say, hey, let's connect. Let's connect. So I just say, let's connect to John, send him a connection, and he sees that, and we can have a video call immediately right there in the platform. Yes. So right now I've connected with John, and we can start a video meeting with John right now. And you see I've started a video meeting. So this is there right now. You can enjoy all these features even before the conference starts proper, and network with people. And check out the exhibitors, check out Lagos State, what are they doing? Maybe pay your taxes there, who knows? I don't know what they're going to put on their stand. Yes, anything they put there will be available to you. Yeah. So you see, I've sent an invite to John, and then we can actually start having put up my camera, and we can start having a meeting with John right now. So it's a beautiful platform. Please take advantage of it and plan your session. More importantly,
an app to connect for those who like the
yes, there's an app you can. So if I go to my events or something, the key thing in the conference, which is very important, you need to, because there's so many things you need to plan. So how do you plan? You scroll, you see the concurrent sessions that are happening at the same time. You need to choose which one you want to attend. So you choose the ones you want to attend, and then you see your plan nicely listed out. You can book meetings, so you want to meet many things, all in this. And again, you have 1 year access. So after the conference, you can continue using these features, continue chatting with friends that you've met at the conference, continue asking questions, evaluate your speakers. And one nice feature we have is you're going to earn badges, just like you're going to earn like a badge every single session you attend. If we have a deal with you, you attend the session, at the end of the session, there's a link. You will need to evaluate our speaker. You go online, evaluate your speaker, and then you're going to get a badge.
Your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile, you attach that capability that I have gained some part of this capability. So you're going to have capability badges. Lots of interaction.
Definitely. And this is really, really interesting. So as we wrap up now, let me begin with Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu. Mrs. Chizoba, I'd just like to ask you as we begin to ramp up, looking at this conference, Nigeria, I think 2018, when we looked at the analysis, we're not in the top 100 countries that retains talent in terms of talents and potentials in the workplace and contributing to human capital development. This conference and LDNI, what are those ways we can begin to see deeper levels of learning and development that can really make us not just get into the top 100, but get onto that ambitious way of being top 50 for attracting and retaining talent and improving learning and development, organizational transformation, and indeed national development?
That shared vision, that shared direction requires learning, because you need to learn about that future. It also requires me to learn, because if we've got to sit in the same bus to get to that future, we've got to learn how to live together. And one of the things that's coming out clearly is around culture and change. And when we talk about culture, it's not the traditional practices. However, it is the behaviors, the beliefs, the values that we've got to have as Nigerians and Nigeria to head in a direction. One of the things that we haven't really done well is to define the citizen, the Nigerian. And we've got to have those conversations. There's got to be a Nigeria before the ethnic, before we think ethnically. And so, you know, what's the concept of that Nigeria? So we've got to create the Nigerian citizen and give Nigerian citizens that direction and the future that we've all got to buy in. And then as we then now start, you know, unpacking and doing the strategy around how do we get there in the various sectors, then we need to start thinking about, you know, what do we need to do? So much more than the technical bit is what we call the soft, mushy elements of transformation and change. And that's really difficult part. The part of changing people's beliefs, unpacking their values and relearning new values, or relearning, you know, unpacking their beliefs, you know, unlearning those, relearning new belief system. Incidentally, the Federal Civil Service, under the leadership of the head of service of the Federation, Dr. Yemi, Mrs. Yemi Esson, they're doing a great job around the culture. They have this strategy, and you know, she's doing a lot of work around the epic culture of the Federal Civil Service. So in different pockets of Nigeria, things are happening. In fact, when John was talking about state and the amazing things that Lagos State is doing, you know, we don't tell these stories enough, but that's because, you know, they are in fragmented pockets. Central Bank of Nigeria is doing amazing things in terms of the learning technology, the way they are defining their learning, and they are going to do performance consulting inside the organization and the emerging technologies that they are using in the Central Bank of Nigeria to learn. So there are pockets of this, but these pockets are not going to take us to that future. We've all got to have that clear future and work together, learn new things, unlearn the behaviors that haven't served us well, and relearn those things that, you know, are things that will make us a great nation. And I'm hoping that, you know, as people, we continue to have these conversations around talent development, because talent development is not just about corporate, it's about nation building. And as a nation, we need to develop the talent within Nigeria.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Chizoba Mojekwu, because it's very important. I have to emphasize
it's not just about talent development, linear development. It has to key into national development. So, Mr. David and Mr. John Wesey, 1 minute each, because we have to wrap up. What are your key expectations from this conference as it has to do with improving L&D talent development to boost our national competitiveness as a country?
Yeah, so it's basically to get companies to be aware that, look, talent development it needs a seat at the table. It's already getting a seat at the table. As HR, you have a CHRO, but talent development on its own, it needs to be taken a lot more seriously by organizations because, and it's shown clearly during this crisis, that people didn't know what to do. I mean, we were just completely lost. And why are we lost? Because that talent, the talent management itself wasn't taken as seriously as it should. And this conference is there to kind of help you build a framework around that, understand that this is something that it will increase shareholder value. It's something that will hit the bottom line directly. And at the end of the day, we need to take it far more seriously than we have in the past. And we have all the resources for you, and we have the connections for you internationally that you can get. And also networking opportunities, and trying to meet people. So don't just go for a conference to learn, go for a conference to network. It's very important. That's very important. Yeah.
So John Wesey, over to you. How does this key in? Because all these beautiful efforts, very innovative conference and strategy would not hug away if the impact of talent development connecting to national progress is not really achieved.
So 3 things. Number 1, there is a national drive which LDNI is championing, I make bold to say, to create a proper framework for developing our talents. That's number 1. Number 2, just like my chairman said, we are asking people to connect. This event is bringing almost 600 to 1,000 people together to connect and share knowledge, share experiences, share expertise, know one another, just like Chizoba was saying. Let